Entrepreneur India is with Divyank Turakhia, serial entrepreneur, investor. Every to-be entrepreneur in India knows about him. We're gonna get to know more about what plans he has. When you started out, I hear that your premise of learning has been reading and translating that into learning and more learning, which has led to your businesses. I want to know from you. I want to know from you. Do you think that today's millennial generation, of course, we're millennials too, but today's generation has more distractions when it comes to really creating businesses, or do you think these are actually advantages that they can use to build different formats of businesses?
A couple of questions here, but before that, are you calling me an older millennial?
I'm calling you and me an older millennial.
Okay, put me in the same group, sure. So, I think reading is important. In fact, let me rephrase that. I think learning is important, right? So, I learn through a lot of mechanisms. One of the primary mechanisms, to your point, has been reading. I've been reading since I was really, really young. In fact, I think averagely every year, including this year, I read for somewhere between 800 to 1,000 hours a year. And that could be a combination of books, and it could be I mean, it's been a while since I carry physical books, but mostly you download something off your Kindle or on your iPad or whatever, or you read online and you read trade journals online, and so on and so forth. But learning is an ongoing process. If you stop learning, that to me is kind of the end of life, right? Because you have to keep learning in order to keep evolving. And if you stop learning, that sounds kind of boring also. Now, I'm not saying learn stuff that you're not interested in, right? In fact, what I like about this generation and the next generation, I'm calling myself as this generation, is that unlike previous generations, we're very open about the fact that if something doesn't interest me, there is nothing you can do to make me interested in it, because it just doesn't interest me. But everybody is capable of amazing things. Everybody is actually passionate about some things. Find out what you're passionate about, and then you don't mind spending all the hours that are needed to specialize in that industry or that vertical, or it could be anything, right? And the reality is you have to spend that time, because there's a massive difference between trying to spend 8-9 hours a day and 5 days a week, and spending the actual amount of time that it takes if you want to really specialize and be like at the top of the game. And at that point of time, literally everybody I know that has succeeded has only succeeded because they spend literally every waking hour of every day. It doesn't matter whether it's a holiday or a weekend or whatever, doing that thing or learning that thing. So that's kind of important.
You've had 3 very successful exits. The third one was a very popular one, one of the largest ad tech deals. Tell us what is the key to managing a business?
Well, it's different at different stages of the business, because when you're starting out as an entrepreneur, the resources that you have are going to be very different from as you start scaling into 50 people, to 100 people, to 200 people, to 500 people, and continue growing into thousands of people. So I would say at each stage you have to look at it very, very differently. I think the couple of things that are consistent are things take time to build. So if you look at most successful stories, it takes anywhere between 5 to 10 years to build something that is material in size. And there are no shortcuts. So you may get lucky, but I mean, that shouldn't be your strategy, right? And I would say that a lot of it is around figuring out what you're passionate about, figuring out what your core strengths are, figuring out how what resources you have access to that will allow you to do something differently from what the market is doing. Because whatever idea or industry you pick, I mean, most industries have significant amount of money, where some company somewhere is making that, so you can basically make it too if somebody else is being able to do that.